give you a second welcome. Excuse the cane. When I was a young police officer, I was injured a couple of times. The doctor said, you'll hear from this if you live to be an old man. I've lived to be an old man, and I'm hearing from it. This will be a very interesting week for all of you. All we ask is you give us 100% of what you individually are capable of giving us. Because I can assure you, the staff, be a couple of dozen people, are giving 100% of what they can give you. It's going to be a lot of hours, a lot of instruction, a lot of sponging and absorbing what's being said, and contributing whenever you can. There's no way that we can put the kind of background and experience that comes to these classes into one individual up front. So we anticipate and expect you to contribute to the degree that you possibly can. And it's not a matter of having been in the business. It's a matter of your own lifetime experiences. I'm sure you will hear different aspects of instruction this week where you can contribute something. Don't hesitate to do it. The only thing we ask of every class is, right now you see one of the staff back there, Tony, opening the door with Bill Horn. And the reason they do that is that there's going to be a march right now of all your egos going out in the hall. Right there. They'll wait for you until Saturday. Saturday you can pick your ego up. Because you're going to be embarrassed, only because you may feel embarrassed this week, which you shouldn't be, but you will. You'll make mistakes, and so will we. Don't worry about it. Just keep on moving. Just do the best you're capable of doing. And as I say, on Saturday, your ego will be right out there, stacked up in the hall. Pick it up, go home with it. But don't ever try to get in touch with it this week, because it's not going to work for you. It's going to be a very quick pace at times, with a lot of movement at other times. Sometimes you'll just be sitting in the room until you feel you've been here a month, and other times you'll be moving around so fast in the community you won't know where you are. So get oriented very quickly in terms of where you are, Winchester, Virginia. Get oriented as to north, south, east, and west, because we anticipate when you get the paperwork after dinner that you will know where you are, because at times you're going to have to move out very quickly in different directions, which is reality. This is a very reality-based program. Reality in the sense of long hours and a lot of information that you will absorb and then show us that you learned something from the instruction that was given by actually getting out and being able to do a few training exercises, inside and outside, on the move, based on what you've learned. It's not that difficult at all. And it won't be difficult, I'm sure, for any of you, based on your background and experience that you're bringing in to these classrooms. This business has a lot of basics that will not change over the decades and hasn't changed. When I was a young officer in Chicago, I protected Mayor Richard J. Daley. His son later became mayor. At that time, his son was a young child, obviously. But the mayor would have us come into his office, we'd be introduced to him, shake hands, sit down, he'd talk to every officer on his protective detail, and then ask where you're from, what neighborhood, what school you went to, what church or temple, about your family, very personal individual. And then he would shake hands with you and say, remember, never put your hands on a voter unless you have to protect yourself or me. And nothing has changed. That was back in the 50s, about putting your hands on people. I still read events in the paper on a weekly basis of some protective detail misbehaving, what I call it, by putting their hands on people, pushing them because they believe they have a VIP or some celebrity that gives them certain and special rights. It doesn't. Learn not to put your hands on people. You don't have any right to do that unless you're protecting yourself or the person you're protecting, or within your entourage, actually. That's a basic scenario, and it hasn't changed. And we'll teach you a lot of basics that haven't changed for a couple of thousand years in the profession of protecting someone else. A very special profession, because you're putting your life in front of someone else's life. And they're looking at you and to you, excuse me, to protect them. And that's what you're there for. That's a basic, and it hasn't changed at all. So a lot more information has trickled down over the centuries, obviously. We're in a very highly technical era now, but the basics haven't changed. They haven't changed at all. So I welcome you to the program. And what I'd like to do is start off with John, and as the staff that is here, this by no means is the entire instructional staff. Many will be with us all week long. Others will come and go. You make their presentation, be on their way. They will give a brief background on themselves. We'll take a break and go around the corner to get a group photo taken, and then we'll go into the social. At the social, I'd like you to start right off being a little extroverted. It's always intrigued me about people in security, military, and law enforcement being more introverted than extroverted. You have to be a bit extroverted. You have to be the one that reaches out with the hand and introduces yourself and gets things done if you're going to be a success in this business. So I want you to start off tonight at the social and be able, if an instructor makes the request later this evening, when we come back into session, for you to be able to get up and say the names of 3 people and introduce them to the instructor, people you did not know when you came in that door this evening. That encourages you to move around during that social and talk to people. Introduce yourself to each other and get to know each other. You're going to spend a lot of time together, and it's an important exercise.